Can I point out every time we do this, he annoys me shitless.
I do a good job at it.
Welcome to Trektrav. I am Trav. This is Ribbit 117. This is our new series reviewing Star Trek Voyager, chosen by him. Why did you choose Star Trek Voyager?
Because when I think about it, every gay man I've ever met always watches Voyager.
It's because they're uncultured.
I say I can't believe two charming devils such as ourselves were ever at odds, my identical friend.
Starting off with Season 1, Episode 1/Episode 2, which is a 2-hour pilot, The Caretaker, the opening episode. Do we want to get into a brief story? Do you want to tell us what happened?
Oh, that's a long episode. Maybe you should.
You're like a goldfish. So the episode opens up really well with the Maquis being chased by Cardassians near Deep Space Nine to the Badlands, and then they get taken away. I liked the opening. I was really weirded out by the opening crawl.
What do you
remember
mean
the
by
text that they played?
Oh, yeah, that was weird. But then, I guess Deep Space Nine did that too, didn't they?
No.
No, they didn't.
Deep Space Nine just opened. Oh, no, it did Wolf 359 battle thing. So, yeah, I think they did.
Yeah.
But yes, so then we go into our title sequence. And my first thought, and I know your first thought, was what?
Oh, it shouldn't have had a title sequence. They shouldn't have revealed the ship before revealing the ship. It kind of took the bluster out of it.
It was the perfect setup for a really epic reveal of the spaceship, and they just went, no, we're going to show you it in the title sequence. By the way, here's all our actors. What will you say about the title sequence of Voyager?
Title sequence of Voyager is, I feel like it's obviously a part of that time and era of Deep Space Nine, so it takes a lot of time cues from that, where it's just a thing floating around a thing, basically.
So I like the visuals.
Yeah, no, it's
I
pretty.
think the visuals look really nice.
Music is very boring.
I think Jerry Goldsmith's score is really nice. It just has no energy to it.
Yeah, it's not really a title sequence sort of energy.
It's like the Deep Space Nine. The Deep Space Nine I kind of get because it's meant to be like a lone station. There's a single horn. The show's very much sort of reflected in the music.
Yeah.
Whereas Voyager, I get that they're trying to set up this sort of emotional thing, like exploration.
Yeah,
but it's just
really have it.
slow and not exciting. Whereas the visuals look amazing, considering some model and sort of CGI backgrounds and stuff.
It's a great model, though. Can we just also talk about how great Voyager looks?
Do we want to do that right now?
I don't know, do you?
I'm not a fan of Voyager in terms of ships. I like it. It's just not my favorite.
Come on, it's so smooth and sleek.
It looks like a big spoon.
Yeah, but it's like when I look at Voyager, you know what I think of? 90s cars. You know when they were going through that space agey era where all the cars were all around.
I don't think you remember the 90s very well.
No, you had the 80s cars which were all blocky and square. And the 90s cars are all roundish and they have curved edges.
So, yeah, to me, it felt like a step down from the Enterprise D. And I remember this at the time.
Okay. So I'll be honest, the D is a much prettier ship.
Deep Space Nine was interesting looking. It had a really unique look about it.
Yeah, well, it was alien.
Voyager, it was like they took the Enterprise D, flipped the saucer, and flattened the engines. It was just, it was nothing super special to me.
I don't know. I like the way it looks. It follows the design standard of Starfleet.
Yes, they have to. It's kind of a thing.
So
in terms of Voyager, and we go to New Zealand, which has a Federation penal colony.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the first time. Well, at least the first time I can remember seeing a penal colony of Starfleets.
Star Trek 6.
Star Trek 6?
Yeah, Rurapenthe.
Oh, really?
It's not a Starfleet one, but it's a genuinely interesting look, but they all just look like they're hanging around in the gardens doing some cleaning and some
Yeah, it looks
picking.
very nice. I wouldn't mind working there, to be honest.
And Janeway comes to recruit Tom Paris. Now, I don't know if you remember this, but the actor who plays Tom Paris, Robert Duncan McNeil, was in The Next Generation.
Yeah,
do you know who he played?
I remember the episode. I don't remember the name of the character, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't Tom Paris.
He played Nick Licano, who also had a misfortunate accident during a maneuver in Starfleet Academy. Character that's essentially has the same background as Tom Paris, but do you know why it's not the same character?
I'm going to guess it's some sort of copyright issue.
Yeah. So they would have to pay the writer of the first studio, I think it is, they'd have to pay him every episode.
Oh.
So all they did was recast the actor, keep the casted actor, change his story a little bit, and then we get sort of, I don't know, he's sassier and a bit more confident.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I think
I don't mind his character.
I think Robert Duncan McNeil as Tom Paris, I think he's really good.
He's a
I
good
like his character.
Like I've always liked his character. Like he's a very interesting character. He's likable straight away.
We get introduced to Janeway as well, who wasn't the first captain of Voyager. It was Genevieve Bujold, which I showed you. And how did you feel about Genevieve Bujold?
She didn't command this. Like she just didn't have the same presence. Like she didn't have the same commanding presence.
So you can Google her, but Rick Berman basically said that when they brought her on, she talked in whispers and she was a little bit like she wasn't very confident in the role. And she was only there for 2 days. She filmed very minimal amounts. So then they gave the thing to Kate Mulgrew. I think they stopped production for a month. They were really worried at the time for a woman to take over as captain.
Yeah.
Now, to me, that seems ridiculous. I don't know about you, but it seems ridiculous that a woman couldn't be a lead in a franchise. Alien, Terminator. But I think Kate Mulgrew nailed that character. You can't imagine anyone else.
No, you can't. You really can't, because like just the way Kate commanded the role, like it's like she has a really strange way of commanding that role where it's like it's sort of motherly, but I'm an authoritarian sort of person.
Yeah, there's a touches of the motherly in this, like when she dresses down. Oh, we'll get to that later. But when she's dealing with younger members of the crew, she sort of comes across as a bit like I'm going to break down the wall a little bit.
Yeah.
So Paris is recruited to go hunting after Chakotay, who is a former Starfleet officer who was in the Cardassian demilitarized zone. He's meant to be, there's an episode of TNG. TNG did a lot of setup for Voyager and Deep Space Nine.
Yeah.
So he's meant to be from one of the colony planets, which is in that area. He's part of the Maquis, which basically are resisting the Cardassians' rule and the Federation's choices. And we get B'Elanna and Chakotay at the beginning, but they're sort of the Maquis central characters. So what did you think of Chakotay?
Well, the one scene that we've seen of him so far.
Well, overall in the episode.
Overall in the episode, he's a very much, I don't know, he's a very understated character, and like he's very sort of just there sort of thing. Like it feels like he's just there, but he's also a bit sassy at the same time.
Well, I feel like in this episode he's actually a character. Because he's actively got a bit of anger in him towards the Federation. He's actively a bit more abrasive with everyone, with Tom Paris in particular, and Tuvok betraying him and stuff like that. My thing is by the end of the episode, there's a line where B'Elanna's like, "Why are you doing this?" And he goes, "Because she's the captain." And that's where his character died.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally where his character died, and we got no more.
Yeah, someone else is in charge.
Yeah, it was a really weird choice. In terms of in terms of B'Elanna, I think B'Elanna was really, really good in this episode. Yeah. I like her being a little bit more snappy and grumpy.
Yeah, she's always a bit greater. Like, first season B'Elanna is very good. I've
Yeah,
always thought.
I think she was always good, but I think first season she was a bit snappy and grumpy and like not unreasonable, but just a bit more bristly.
Yeah.
So Voyager's at Deep Space Nine, which I think's a good nod. A good nod to do sort of to the preceding series.
Yeah, like I personally I like this scene that it exists, but I'm surprised that they didn't have like Benjamin Sisko pop in and that sort of thing. But instead he's like it's just Quark.
I don't feel like it was relevant for him to be though. Like not every ship that comes to Deep Space Nine is going to meet Captain Sisko.
Yeah, but I think like a new ship like Voyager, like surely he would be interested in it.
So a clear difference between Deep Space Nine's first episode and Voyager's is Deep Space Nine, Picard had an emotional resonance with Sisko. Janeway doesn't have any connection to Sisko, so it sort of defeats the point.
Yeah.
But we get that cute little scene with Harry Kim, who we're introduced to. And can I say, I think they should have made Harry Kim the POV character for a good chunk of the series.
Oh, he's such a good character. Like, he's one of the better characters here.
Armin Shimmerman's in there, and Quark's always good. I enjoy having Quark.
Yeah.
I think overall, you didn't really need it, but it's a nice little nod.
Yeah, like I would have liked more characters from Deep Space Nine. Just being in Quark.
We have Morn.
Yeah, but does he count? He's like a non-verbal character.
To anyone who likes Deep Space Nine, Morn counts as a real character.
What? He just sits on a stool.
Huh? Yeah, he's like Norm from Cheers. So we get that nice little thing where Quark tries to swindle Harry, and then Tom and Harry make friends because Tom saves him from the swindling.
Yeah, instant friends as well.
Yeah, but I think their characters work really well, and I think Harry Kim is such a naive character that it sort of plays really well against Tom Paris's sort of seasoned battle-hardened swindler. And I really like that. And then we're going to skip ahead because they go to the Badlands to investigate. They get hit with a big wall of, I don't know, wave of energy.
Yeah, wave of energy. Yeah.
And then wake up in the Delta Quadrant.
Yeah, literally just gets sucked over there and everyone falls asleep and then they wake up.
Yep. Sucked over there. They wake up.
No,
there's some warp problems. Janeway goes to help
there's
with
a bunch of dead people.
Yep, the commander's dead. The doctor's dead. The engineer's dead. Conveniently, all the main leads in a Star Trek show.
And also all of Janeway's like head staff.
Also, they only have one nurse. All the nurses were dead.
Yeah.
Everyone was
a lot of
dead.
Nurses. Pretty much everyone in sickbay dead.
Yeah,
Gordon, Bennett, yes, Chen, everybody. Everybody's dead, Dave.
Rimmer!
He's dead, Dave. Everybody is dead. Everybody is dead, Dave.
Wait. Are you trying to tell me everybody's dead?
Well, it's pretty crazy. So we get introduced to the holographic Doctor, played by Robert Picardo, who is a highlight of the whole series. He's enjoyable to watch the whole time.
I love him.
I think overall, he's not in it as much. I think he sort of just pops up and he says a funny one-liner, which makes it easier.
Yeah, he's sort of just been introduced.
Yeah, there's nothing overly big other than he's just a bit cantankerous and grumpy, but he's fun to have around.
Yeah.
And then they all get sucked away. They all get sucked off.
Yeah, no, they get beamed off onto an installation that they've just magically been transported to by that wave.
A Caretaker's array. We don't know it's the Caretaker yet, but that's what he's called.
It's an installation at this point.
And then they're on a farm, and of course it's an American southern country farm.
Yeah, it's quite cutesy.
God forbid they got taken to Japan or, I don't know, China.
Yeah,
or
maybe they got taken to
somewhere in Indonesia. Yeah, just take it somewhere not American.
Yeah, they just get taken to like Trafalgar Square.
It's like whenever they do the Q representation of the Q continuum, an American town. Like every time.
These shows are filmed in America. I guess it's cheaper and easier just to show an American.
Literally could do anything else. We find out that they're waiting. We find out that they don't like corn on the cob.
No one touches it.
And then they investigate too much. They find the crew of the Marquis ship they lost at the beginning.
Yeah, in a barn.
In a barn. all lying down on surgical beds, and then all of a sudden, all the townspeople come in with pitchforks, and they are all medical exposed on. And I like the Harry Kim screaming.
Yeah.
This episode feels very much like Harry Kim's introduction to Star Trek.
Yeah, and which I'm pretty sure it's all part of the part one, which I think part one was very Kim-centric.
I would say, I'd say part two is even very Kim-centric. Because Tom's main motivation is helping Harry Kim.
Yeah.
Janeway's main inspiration is helping Harry as well because she barely knew him. Like, she has that discussion where she talks about his mother wanting to send his cello and stuff. So there was this young new crew member. I think that really worked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why the focus shifted in later episodes, but certainly in this first episode, it was very much around Harry. I think B'Elanna, when they wake up on the planet, which is what happens, B'Elanna and Harry get sent to
they get kidnapped.
An underground city, and they got little pussy bits on them.
Yeah, they got like leprosy or some shit.
Yeah, and they're wearing white, like they're pussy things, and they don't stain the clothing.
Yeah,
but they get. So my first thought was, if there's pus, then those clothes should be just have like green splodges on them.
Yeah.
And they find out that these two are gone. There's oh my God, where's this energy going? And then they've got to try and find their way. They run into who?
I'm
testing him here.
You're always testing me.
Neelix?
Neelix and... hang on. I was getting distracted. Sorry.
By what?
By you.
Anyway, so we run into Neelix.
Yeah, Neelix, and he really wants water.
Yeah, so his entire bartering proposal is water. We find out he doesn't have water. He's first introduced to Tuvok, which is a relationship that becomes much more meaningful as the show progresses.
Yeah.
I feel like Neelix here is a better character.
I don't know, but like I feel like his costume in this episode is very good. Like the way the makeup is, I feel like later on it gets worse and then it gets good again, and it's fucking weird. But in this episode, he's very much Neelix. He's straight away the character he is throughout the entire series.
No, I wouldn't say that. I'd say his character changes later on.
He's the base character.
The base character, but I
baseline,
feel like
he's there.
I feel like with Neelix, they fluctuate because he goes and looks through debris. He manipulates the crew into rescuing Kes. Like there is an active.
There's some.
He's active in his own life. He has his own story, but then and I'll talk about this later on more. But he flip flops between being really, really competent and knowing the galaxy to being the side funny. They didn't know really which balance he was on. Not to mention all of the stuff with Kes, which we'll get to later. So they go to the Ocampan planet, led by Neelix, with lots of water. There's a great scene with Tuvok and Neelix in the bath.
Yeah. I thought I was going to see Neelix's dome.
Tuvok's quite sassy, though, because he was like, Neelix goes, "Oh, I haven't used a replicator before." And he goes, "Oh, I wouldn't have guessed," pretty much. And I'm like, Tuvok's a bit sassy. And they go to the Ocampan world. They run into the Kazon, which are like, I didn't even know how to describe the Kazon.
Well, they're just some people at that point to the Voyager crew. They're just some people that are just there, just trying to mine the planet.
They look like Klingons with bad hair. They kind of act like Klingons without the budget.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing special or new. And I know that they were meant to be street games, like referencing to street games.
Yeah, the Kazon are interesting characters themselves, but they're not interesting in the way that they're so uninteresting and so unintegral.
It was a weird choice.
There.
Then we find out that Neelix has been lying to them to save his girlfriend.
And he basically just forces the Voyager crew to declare war on fucking the Kazons.
Her name is Kes. She's beaten and bruised. Obviously, they've been brutalizing her. And I find it really, really weird. I find it weird and we find out also they only live for 9 years and she's like 1.
Yeah, she's really, really young, and Neelix is like really into her. It's really strange.
It's an odd thing, but then at the same time, if you take, say, she lives for 9 years, that's the equivalent of us living to 90 years. No, they should still be 10. It's really quite weird.
That's strange, isn't it?
But I think Kes comes across in this episode much stronger than she does later on as well.
Yeah.
Whenever she gets a bit more forceful, I enjoyed Kes more. But there's a lot of Kes being like airy talk.
Yeah, that's later on in the season.
She becomes essentially...
We can talk about that later.
We're going to talk about it. We know what's going on with the series.
Yeah, we may know, but they don't.
If they're watching this review, they know.
They don't know.
They know.
They don't know.
They do.
They don't know.
If they're watching Trektrav,
who knows? This might be someone's first introduction.
The show's 30 years old. Over. They save Kes. Kes comes back. Janeway's mad. She doesn't know what the fuck's going on. They find out that the Okommans are subterranean. They find out that they're getting delivered energy. They're protected by the person in the big spaceship thing. And we also see Harry and B'Elanna down below trying to work out what's going on, and they're not trapped. They're not prisoners. They weren't kidnapped. They were sent there with this disease. We find out that the Caretaker's been acting a bit odd.
Yeah. He's been sending more power to them.
More power. 5 years worth of power.
So much power.
To be honest, with all the food that they eat, I'd rather die.
Yeah, it was like black goo in
the
a
matte
bowl.
paintings didn't age well.
You don't think so?
No, I was looking at the matte painting going, the foreground's really good, like the water twinkling and people walking.
Yeah.
The background, I'm like, that's a painting.
It's a thing with a lot of Voyager as well, where it's like the matte paintings do not hold up in any of Voyager.
Oh no, later on they start using the 3D backgrounds like Enterprise did, and they were really, really good. But this episode, it's like TNG, terrible matte painting.
Harry and B'Elanna decide to try and escape.
Try and escape, go up a tube that the Okommans originally came from. Meanwhile, Janeway figures out they can beam through. Now here comes my first...
No, the only way that she figured it out is through...
They can beam through like the shield barrier at a certain...
because...
Why couldn't they locate B'Elanna and Kim?
Because the
and
shielding.
beam them up.
The shielding.
But they beam through the shield.
Yeah,
so they would have to have a lock on the area.
No, they were shown a way through the shield by Cass. They will just beam close enough to walk through it.
No.
Oh no, they
beamed down.
Yeah, there was holes.
They sort of walked into the scene. So
yeah, they just kind of arrived there. They didn't even beam.
I'm confused.
Like somehow they end up there. So anyway, they're there.
As Harry and B'Elanna are trying to leave, Janeway and that arrive. There's some talk about Okommans having mysterious telekinetic powers. And it's like, ooh.
Yeah, they're not using 100% of their brain.
No, I like the fact that they talk without their mouths. And it was interesting at the time going, oh, maybe she'll develop more powers. But at the same time, it's like, this is just stuff to fill the episode. Then they find out, they're trying to find Harry in that, and they figure out that they're going up one of the tubes to get out. Of course, they can't beam out anymore because the Caretaker is destroying the power signal, the power conduity things, which interferes with the transporter.
He's trying to seal the Okommans city.
Yep, so Janeway has to go up the hole as well. Everyone has to go up the hole.
Giggity.
They get up there.
Yeah, Tom Paris, Neelix, and Kes with Kim and B'Elanna get up to the surface.
Through a very, very human, specifically sized hole.
No, they had to blow a hole through the roof.
Remember they had to go past that barrier first.
Yeah, they had to get through there.
Which they had to do the splits.
Yeah, they had to really crouch
and then
down.
they shot the roof, and then they climb out. And then Chakotay breaks his leg. And then Tom, being a hero, goes to save them. And also...
Yeah, but I think that's got more to do with, Tom Paris's character needing to he's trying to get redemption.
Well,
in an odd way, he's a snarky, arrogant asshole most of it. And that's his character.
He's got to prove his reason to be.
Yeah, he's trying to prove himself to show that, hey, I'm a nice guy now. I'm not so bad.
Oh, look,
I'm not so bad, but it is what it is.
I think overall, So he does. He sort of leads the team. He leads the charge on the rescue. He sort of takes Harry under his wing. I think he's the most human character. I think Harry as well. And I feel like they should have been much more central in the beginning.
Yeah.
But then once they're rescued, they go to the caretaker's array because they need to get home. They need to be sent home. Yeah. And then they go talk to the caretaker. Oh, sorry. Tuvok did have a theory while they were walking around the Cumbin village. The caretaker is dying. He's old. He's dying. Yeah. He's trying to help the Okampa so they don't.
Well, he deducted it using logic.
Yes, it was pretty obvious from the beginning what was going on.
Yeah.
So they go back. They're talking to the caretaker, and he goes, "Look, I can't. I've just finished my work. I need to finish my work." And then he carks it. Pretty much. He's pretty much like, I've got no energy for it. But they figure out how to send themselves home.
Yeah, meanwhile, on the outside, Voyager and the Marquis ship are engaging the Kazon.
Yes. And so we completely exit the really cool space battle for Janeway having a heart-to-heart with an old man.
Yeah, an old man in a barn.
Which was a nice moment, but it's a bit like the better moment comes later on. But when the caretaker dies, she sort of picks him up and she sort of... Yeah, the choice. He says basically, look after the Okampa. Janeway wants to get home, and her choice is basically go home, the Okampa die, or stay where you are, and the Okampa might live for a bit longer. Although they just disappear anyway, so it kind of makes no sense.
Do they? I don't know.
They just fly off towards the Federation, so they leave the Okampa there to do whatever they need to do.
Yeah, they leave the Okampa, but...
I'm sorry, they did say that the array would destroy the Okampa, so maybe that's what destroying the array would destroy the Okampa.
Yeah.
And we sort of I like the dilemma of her choosing, and I like her coming onto the bridge.
Having the Kazon take over the array would destroy the Okampa.
Yes. So I like the fact that she has that choice. I think it's a big choice. Do I think it's the right choice?
Well, if we want a season fucking TV show, it's the right choice.
It's the right choice. But I do think that surely she could have, like in the last episode of Voyager, had her cake and eaten it too, but maybe she didn't have time. And then we get sort of her making that choice.
Captain, shields are holding.
Move us 400 kilometers from the array, Mr. Paris.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think you're doing? That array is the only way we have to get back home.
I'm aware everyone has families and loved ones at homes they want to get back to. So do I. But I'm not willing to trade the lives of the Okampa for our convenience. We'll have to find another way home.
What other way home is there? Who is she to be making these decisions for all of us?
She's the captain.
And character dead. Character dead. Any character development in this episode? Gone.
Yeah,
don't worry about it. It's gone. It's out the window.
Immediately neutered Chakotay. And there's not even any real tension later on from what I remember. But it's just literally, you've taken all of that. He should have been much more sort of, I'm going to be a bit more feisty with this.
Well, the thing is, at this point, right, Janeway's making this decision, but no one on the fucking ship knows anything about what just happened.
Yeah, and no one has an opinion of it either. Like, no one actually goes, oh, hold on a second. Like, you think
there's just no conversation about it. It's just, do this now.
And then... So she destroys the array.
Janeway will just do that to you, but Janeway has that power. She says something, you can do
like that she grapples with it. I feel that she grapples with it, but the fact that she doesn't ask anyone is a bit weird. At the same time, the immediate thing she does next is invite the Marquis to become a part of Voyager.
Yeah, she basically replaces all the heads of like engineering.
Conveniently, B'Elanna is an engineer,
and it's like she just gives all these really choice jobs to the Marquis, not the Starfleet. Sure,
look, I get that they're in a hard situation, and that's a choice. Chakotay has experience, B'Elanna has experience, but I think I don't think it's a problem. I think that it could have been like a co-captain thing, or it could have been. She needs to get the Marquis in line.
It could have been that Chakotay didn't crash his ship into a fucking K-Zone ship.
Yeah, I still think that...
Can we also just point out that the K-Zones can't fucking get water, right, and squabble over water, but somehow have ships that can defeat Voyager?
Too. 100%
what the fuck?
How the fuck did this race that's like, I can't get water. I have a spaceship. go to a planet with water.
I know.
There's plenty of them.
Get a block of ice, fucking drop it on the planet. Fucking hell.
Geez,
Grab
humans
an
got
asteroid
ice
that has
in
ice.
the desert
Oh
back
my
in the
God.
day. Like, anyway, that did annoy me. But at the same time, like, I think they should have pushed it back. They shouldn't have made them a part of the crew straight away. They should have maybe had some build, like with Tom. When they give Tom the pilot role, he's earned it. He's saved them. He saved Dakota. He's earned it.
Yeah, he's proven himself to be a better person than what he was.
Dakota didn't prove anything other than he wanted to save his crewman. B'Elanna did but B'Elanna obviously didn't get the engineer role straight away. But she didn't prove anything either. So it's a really, really weird situation. And then they have like Harry standing next to a marquee guy who just happens to be in gold.
Yeah,
like they're assistants now. What's
yeah,
going on?
straight away. I'm just working with this guy.
I do though. I do. This isn't my favorite pilot for Star Trek, but I do like this episode. I think it's fun. I think
it sets up the season to what Voyager is, and what Voyager is a bit more fun. It's a less serious version of Star Trek.
Yeah, it was a good, in terms of Star Trek, it was a pretty good time. It was just like peak Star Trek. TNG just ended, gone off to do Generations. Deep Space Nine was into its, I think, second or third season. Maybe even fourth. They just done something. I don't know. But so Voyager came at a time when Star Trek was sort of at its most production value. And you see that in this. I did recognize a few reused sets and stuff. Because obviously they can just use TNG stuff. But I overall, I think as an opening for me as a kid and as an adult, I think it's a fun episode. It's really hard for me to get into all of the technobabble.
Yeah, there's so much technobabble.
A lot of technobabble. Like you can tell we haven't watched like older episodes of Star Trek on the ship a lot recently because technobabble was a lot back then.
Yeah,
like a lot. Like I can't even remember the words. Like positronic binaural circuitry. I'm like, they don't need to explain this. Just say it has little brain cells in it.
Yeah, so it's using a neural network. Jesus Christ! Whoa!
But people like that sort of nerdy stuff. So we'll finalize this. I love Voyager. I love this episode. I think it's a fun episode. I think it's a really good episode.
Yeah, no, it's a great episode. I feel like there's clear shortfalls and stuff like that, but that's throughout Voyager.
I think if you say yeah, no, you're very Australian.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Do you know what that means?
Yeah, no.
Write it in the comments.
Yeah, it's okay.
So, overall, on the beginning of our journey through Star Trek Voyager, which theoretically, if we do one episode, well, this is technically two, one episode every week is going to take us a few years.
This was also a bit of a slogger of an episode.
It's like marriage, but through Star Trek.
It is. Can we kiss on that one?
No.
Oh,
it's too gay.
Too gay.
Too gay for my channel.
Oh, I'll just make it gayer.
You're holding my hand the whole episode. Stop it. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. It's I can't believe how old the show is now, but I loved everything about it. I think Kate Mulgrew was perfect for Janeway. I think everyone was perfect for who they want to be.
Every single character, like, and this is going to be throughout Voyager, all the characters fit their place.
Voyager is your favorite Star Trek, isn't it?
It is. It 100% is. It's the Voyager is also the Star Trek I started watching long ago. This is like the Voyager.
How long ago?
Years ago, when I was a baby, when I was just a baby gay boy.
I was 5.
Yeah, okay.
Before you were born.
I had to watch it on DVD.
Yeah, DVD. That wasn't that long ago. I was watching Star Trek when I was in housing commission, government housing, when I was 5 years old. And Mum recorded it at 9:30 at night because it was past my bedtime.
Oh, it was on DVDs. I watched it in a car.
I feel
on
like
a portable DVD
I feel like you
player.
really started watching Star Trek when you met me.
You'd think that, but no. I started watching Star Trek when I was like 10. And it was only Voyager. And I only ever watched Voyager.
Yeah, it's a gay thing. Anyways, join us next week for the second episode of Star Trek Voyager. I have been Trektrav. This has been Ribbit 117. Say bye, Ribbit 117.
Arrivederci.
Fuck off.
No, you fuck off.
You fuck off.
You fuck
You
off.
fuck off. Ah!